Just as a quick heads up before we get started, I am hosting a domination tournament for Creative Assembly this Saturday, December 6th on the new patch. The top two from this tournament qualify for a grand final with a chance to win some prize money, so be sure to check that out if you are interested. This is, of course, officially sponsored by Creative Assembly. Now onto the video. There are a lot of really great and powerful units in the DLC. The Preyton is not one of them. You may have heard me discussing it before. You may have seen it in a replay or two. Today, HDS is going to take a double Preyton. Highly experimental. I mean, so far in all of our experiences, they haven't been that great. So, a bold move, certainly, against my Skaven. Yeah, I mean, some people, the type of people to write the comments I'm talking about aren't even going to listen to this, but some of you guys getting a little wild, not understanding the mission here. Is that in early access, a lot of these builds, a lot of these games have stuff that is somewhat experimental. We're obviously trying to try out the new stuff and really get a feel for it and see what's viable, what's not, what's good. And yeah, the Preytons here, they are definitely a unit that exists. They're super expensive with low melee defense. They don't have the most armor in the world. It seems like their skeletons and animation was branched off from the Wyvern, which is not a great thing. The Wyvern's animation set is not very good compared to other flying monsters of its era, which is Warhammer 1, including the Manticore. Manticore has some of the best animations in the game, and it is quite a juxtaposition to have, like the Chimera, which is, I think, branched off from the Manticore, and the Preyton here, branched off from the Wyvern, and to see the difference in power level. Of course, there's a lot of other factors to consider, but they do have some things going for them. So physical resistance, decent attack, especially with Frenzy active. They've got decent weapon strength with anti-large, 60 armor, okay. And they've also got Devastating Flanker. You've got this All-Consuming Hatred, which we'll talk more about in a minute, and Endless Malice, which gives them a nice little damage and melee attack bump when units are routing in range. As Slaanesh, something you can do, but the issue that they pose for Slaanesh in particular is that they're so expensive. And it's one of your few true anti-large units. They are nice flying anti-large monsters, but that low defense and high cost means they are definitely glass cannons and sort of lacking in the cannon department in my experience. The damage output, although it seems pretty good, I've yet to see them really consistently pay for themselves, especially given their high cost. So yeah, let's see how they can do. Today he's got some Devoted Marauders up front, a Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh, Dakala, doing her Dagger Dance for extra armor and damage resistance right now. And then he's got Hidden in the Woods, the Regiment of Renowned Secret Chariots. I don't know if we've talked about them yet. They just have Perfect Vigor and Feasting on Fear, which is nice, certainly. Feasting on Fear is quite a nice thing. Do base Secret Chariots also have 70 armor? I'd have to check. Charmed contact effects. Overall pretty decent for a Chariot Regiment of Renown. A couple of Hellstriders sitting in the woods there. A couple of Furies up in the sky. Already running down my formation. And in particular, I wanted to take the Skaven in this battle because one of the only balance changes I've seen, like significant balance changes that I noted, was Storm Vermin got a pretty significant cost reduction. The base Sword and Shield variant are now only 850 points, 850 points, whereas the Halberd variant, I want to say, is like 950, 900, 950, I forget. We'll check it after the fact, but yeah, that's nice. Skaven were a little bit in the struggle bus outside of one very key OP bomber unit, but like the rest of the roster is somewhat struggles right now, so nice to see Storm Vermin get some love. I've got two Hell Pit Abominations as well. I figured, hey, one of Slaanesh's weaknesses historically has been large monsters that are tough to kill. Why don't we take two of them? We've got Lord Skrull also leading the way for a nice cheap Caster Lord, and then a Packmaster to heal and support the two Hell Pit Abominations. Front line of the Skaven Slave Spears. We've got the Storm Vermin here supporting those Hell Pits, and then some Clan Rat Spears through the back with a big old line of Slingers, plus some Rat Ogres for mass protection. And they are definitely not going to notice the demons and other fun things rushing them from behind, as is a very Slaanesh thing to do, but let's see how it goes. The Preytons definitely have their work cut out for them here, facing off against 2+1. Very tanky and tough to kill monsters, at least if you don't have missiles. These monsters of Skaven, obviously very low armor, would be quite vulnerable to getting pincushioned by like Marauder Javelins. But here, we're going to see both Preytons go 2v1 on this Hell Pit. One of them immediately gets distracted fighting some Storm Vermin infantry. And let's see, we're going to keep the health bars up. We'll stay relatively close as we take a look. Yeah, the other Storm Vermin, Hell Pit Abomination, Regiment of Renown, lands on that Devoted Marauder right there, crushing them pretty badly. I'm also getting crushed pretty badly in the back line as the Hell Striders catch my Rat Ogres unawares, and the Furies and the Chariots also disrupting my Slinger line pretty effectively. We're going to see a Phantasmagoria being used here, pinning everything in place so that he can kind of maybe cycle his Preytons in and out. But Rod of Corruption been popped on my end, and also this all-consuming hatred. So I think this is a complete trap ability, and that you likely shouldn't be using it at all. For those of you guys who don't know how damage resistance works, basically if a unit gets hit, it has to get hit by a melee attack successfully, then it will deal this small amount of damage back. In single entity fights, it does literally nothing, because 28 damage per hit is going to make absolutely no difference when you're talking about a unit that has as much HP as Hell Pit Abominations have, in particular with their massive passive healing. But yeah, so in single entity fights, this is 100% a trap. You shouldn't use it. If the Preyton is diving into a big mass of infantry, or like maybe for a cavalry fight if they get surrounded, you might consider popping it, but even still, I would say it's a pretty big trap, just because you're lowering your melee defense pretty significantly on a unit that already has very bad melee defense for the cost, and you're making your glass cannon even more glass without that much cannon upside. Like, damage resistance is good on multi-model units fighting multi-model units because you're getting tons of pops of that damage, whereas against a single entity, even if they're surrounded like here, you know, you've got, what, in a real-world battle situation, I mean, unless they're legitimately fully surrounded, you're going to have, what, like maybe 5-6 infantry models in contact. It's just not that much damage to justify lowering your own melee defense, again, on a monster that's so expensive and has so much melee defense already. Not that damage resistance abilities are completely useless. I just think that this particular one is not well implemented and will definitely get your units killed unnecessarily. Yeah, both Preytons get mauled pretty badly in that engagement against the Hell Pits. And Dakala also is getting beat up pretty badly, but she has the speed to be able to get away, I think, here. She's being poisoned and tired and everything else. Yeah, she's got the Dance of Destruction active momentarily there, yeah. Also, we'll talk about Dakala's dances there, but another way to lower your own melee defense. Not necessarily ideal. She's going to pop the armor and damage resistance instead, and let's see how that goes. Preytons are going to try their best to cycle charge, but yeah, this one gets caught in a quick 3v1 and just absolutely blasted. They don't have a lot of HP for a flying monster of their cost range, so that's another thing the Creative Assembly could potentially do to address. Lord Skrull just absolutely running for his life from Dakala, because he cannot even come close to holding a candle against her for like 30 seconds. So I'm going to just try my best to keep him moving and keep body blocking with everything else. Preyton comes in for another rear charge there and suffers landing bug, which is another significant issue. I've noticed that Preytons, they suffer from landing bug pretty badly. So let's just get a full nice view of this. Honestly, one of the things that Creative Assembly badly needs to address in this game. But Dakala now trying to save herself with her dagger dance. Preyton fails to land, eventually is going to come over and land at an angle to actually get a few attacks on the Hell Pit. And I mean, when the Preytons are able to get into combat and actually do successive attack animations, they are getting some good damage on the Hell Pit Abominations. If this was another monster that didn't have passive healing, I probably would be in a little bit of trouble, but as it is, it's going to be a pretty quick victory for me, and yeah, I mean, this game was very one-sided, but I still thought it was worth showing because I learned something. I know HDS probably learned something as well. But it's also a really good showcase of just that the Preytons are not up to snuff right now. And I mean, granted, they're fighting a monster with support that's sort of a tier above them. But one of the things about having such an expensive cost and not having the power to back it up is then you also don't have appropriate support because you can't afford other units to help out here. And honestly, for HDS's build, inarguably, just replace the Preytons with like 4 Marauder Horsemen and more stuff, and this build is just better, and the Marauder Horsemen have a much better chance of actually killing the Hell Pits, I think. Ultimately, for me, one of them paid for itself. The thing wasn't really challenged too much. I did get some good plays. I mean, HDS certainly with a really nice flank attack there, shut down my back line, so in a way, he sort of outplayed me, but I do think I outpicked him, which is, you know, it's easy to get outpicked when you're taking 2 Preytons. Yeah, Storm Vermin, love to see their cost reduction. We'll check that out real quick in just a minute here as well, but for the rest here, mostly just, yeah, it comes down to Skaven units, or, sorry, these Slaanesh units just getting bodied. The Chariot here, unfortunately, didn't really do much. I think they kind of got tangled up and killed a little bit there, which has always been one weakness of Secret Chariots, even with, you know, the defensive stats they do have, just because they have such huge unit models, they tend to get hit by a lot of things, and weirdly, they tend to get bogged down by a lot of things, even like light infantry of Skaven. But, yeah, let's talk quickly. Let's touch on the Storm Vermin, and then let's also talk about the Preyton. Finish things up. So, yeah, Storm Vermin. 850 for the base one, 950 for the Storm Vermin Halberds. So, nice little cost reduction to see there. Give the Skaven a little something. But, Preytons. So, for Slaanesh, and I believe it's available for Beastmen. I don't know that it's necessarily available for any other factions, but in either case, I mean, 1650 for the base version, and 1850 for the Regiment of Renown, which, you know, I'm not trying to... not trying to make anyone feel bad who worked on this, but this is probably one of the worst Regiment of Renown designs I've ever seen. The benefits that you pick up are comically bad, honestly. It has Vanguard deployment, okay, and Strider for when it's crawling along the ground, dying. Yeah, I think this one could use a little bit of a rethink in the way that it's implemented. Maybe give it some other passive bonuses or buffs or debuffs or just something. Right now, it's like, ooh, it's a Forest Stalker flying unit that can't even hide in the forest. I guess as Strider and Vanguard deployments, you could maybe use it in some interesting ways, but 1850 pay for a flying monster of this cost is just painful, right? I mean, 50 more points gets you all the way up to a Black Dragon, which, I mean, Black Dragons are also not known for being particularly great, but just straight up better weapon strength, charge, melee, defense, which is very important for flying monsters in particular. Less melee attacks, certainly, but extra 1,000 HP. So, there you go. Even for the base version, you know, 1650, you're also looking at, I mean, there's some decent flying ones. The Chimera did have its costs adjusted as well, since I showed you, so I might as well show you that update here. 1500 and 1800, so now the comparison doesn't look quite so bad for the Preyton, but even still, the Chimera with less HP manages to be much tankier through higher melee defense and through immunity to flanking, which is an amazing trait for a flying monster to have. Yeah, the Preyton also has less armor, so there you go. It's really just overall not nearly as good. You don't have a breath attack, so whereas the Chimera, even if it takes damage, if it has breath attacks left, as long as it can maintain its leadership, fly around a little bit, still generate some value with those breath attacks. Preyton, it just dies. So, yeah, definitely a unit that could use some tweaking. Yeah, this all-consuming hatred, like, its melee defense is low enough, especially if it's surrounded when it's sort of the optimal time to use this, that, I don't know if it really needs to lower your melee defense at all. It could just be damage reflection only, and I think that would be an improvement to that ability. Likewise, you could maybe bump their HP up a hair, maybe bump their base melee defense just a little bit as well. Yeah, really a monster that needs some improvements to be truly viable. I don't know. I know as soon as I say that, I'm going to get sent like 10 MLG Preyton replays on release day, which if that's you out there, please, by all means, do your best to make the Preyton sing. Send me those replays. I always love to see when I'm proven wrong, but I think on this one, Creative Assembly needs to come back and sort of have a second look at the Preyton, and in particular the Regiment of Renown. Let's think about what could be some fun thematic abilities for a sort of a Forest Stalker-themed Preyton to have. Maybe this guy, you give him like an AoE Stalk Aura like what the Quaddle has. That would give him a super unique... especially for Slaanesh, considering they really don't have, like, ambush troops in a meaningful way. Even the devotees of Slaanesh, which are sort of like Shades, they don't have Vanguard deployment necessarily, so It'd be a little bit tricky to use in practice, but like your Hellstriders have Vanguard deployment. Do Seekers also? Yeah, so you could definitely do some things here. Even Pleasure Seekers do. So how fun would that be to have, like, the ROR Preyton plus 2 Pleasure Seekers, which granted is a huge spend, but still, you have them, like, stocked on an open plane, you know, somewhere in Vanguard deployment. I think that would be super cool. Leave your suggestions if you got this far down in the comments below. How would you make this Forest Stalker Preyton actually unique and impactful in a battle? I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what you have to say. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been my absolute pleasure, and we're going to bring you more content from the update coming very soon. So be sure to subscribe, like the video. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.